The rain poured relentlessly over the city that night, drenching every corner, every cracked sidewalk, and every stray hope left on the streets. In a narrow alley behind an upscale restaurant, a girl no older than 17 crouched against the wall, clutching a plastic bag of half-eaten bread rolls. Her name was Lena, and she had long since stopped caring about the dirt on her hands or the holes in her shoes. Survival didn't leave space for pride. She scavenged behind restaurants because that's where food was thrown away, untouched bread baskets, plates with more than half the meal left, and once in a while, a forgotten slice of cake. But tonight, fate brought something stranger than stale bread. Through the open back door of the restaurant, she overheard a conversation. A deep, commanding voice, slightly bitter, slightly amused. "Greater than, you think I care about what people think of me?" The man said. "You used to," came another voice, gentler, probably a waiter. The deep voice chuckled coldly. "That was before I ended up in this chair. Now I just eat, pay, and leave. No small talk, no charity." Lena peeked inside. At a corner table sat a man in his late 40s, tall, broad-shouldered, but with legs that didn't move. His wheelchair gleamed like it was custom-made, and his suit looked worth more than her entire life's earnings. The empty plates on his table told her he enjoyed good food, yet something in his eyes suggested he enjoyed very little else. Elias Drake. She didn't know his name yet, but she'd soon learn it was one every business paper in the city knew, a millionaire investor who built empires and destroyed competitors with equal ease. And Lena, without realizing it, was about to walk into his life. Chapter 2, The Offer. When the waiter left, Lena swallowed her fear and stepped forward. "Greater than, excuse me, sir," she said softly. Elias turned, brows raised. He scanned her ragged coat, the rain-matted hair, and the thin frame trembling from cold. "Greater than, if you're selling something, I'm not interested," he said flatly. She shook her head. "No, I'm offering you something." That made him pause. "You're offering me something?" Her voice quivered, but her eyes locked on his. "Yes, trade your leftovers for a cure." He blinked, then laughed, loud, unexpected, almost cruel. "A cure? You think you can fix this?" He gestured at his motionless legs. "Doctors with millions in equipment couldn't do it. And you, what? You have magic bread." Lena stepped closer. "Not bread, my brother. He's smart, not book smart, invention smart. He makes things out of scrap metal, broken electronics, anything. He's been working on an exoskeleton suit for people who can't walk. It's not finished. We don't have the materials, the tools, or the money. But it could work." Elias smirked. "And your price is my leftovers." Her jaw tightened. "We don't need much, just what you'd throw away anyway. If it works, you get the first prototype. If it doesn't, you've lost nothing but food you weren't going to eat." He studied her for a long moment. Her face was pale, but her voice held a spark, not of pity, but determination. "Fine," he said finally, a hint of amusement still in his tone. "You've got guts. Come back here tomorrow. We'll see if you keep them." Chapter 3, The Trade Begins. And so it began. Every evening for the next 3 weeks, Lena appeared outside the restaurant. Elias would nod toward his table scraps, and the waiter would hand them over in a paper bag. At first, it was just a transaction, no words beyond, "Here," and "Thanks." But over time, curiosity crept in. One rainy night, Elias asked, "So this brother of yours, how old is he?" 14, Lena replied, tucking the bag under her arm. "Name's Toby. He's been obsessed with machines since he could hold a screwdriver." "And your parents?" She hesitated. "Gone. It's just us." Something in his eyes flickered, but he masked it quickly. "And you think he can fix what the best surgeons couldn't?" She met his gaze. "I think he can try harder than they did." Chapter 4, The Workshop. 2 months later, Elias found himself doing something he swore he'd never do, visiting the part of town where street lamps flickered and buildings sagged under years of neglect. Lena had invited him, well, more like dared him, to see the workshop. He expected a dingy garage. What he found was, worse, yet somehow impressive. In a cramped, dimly lit room, a boy with oil-streaked hands crouched over a jumble of wires and metal plates. Old computer parts lay scattered like puzzle pieces. The exoskeleton was barely more than a rough frame, but even Elias could see the clever engineering behind it. Toby looked up, startled. "You're the guy in the wheelchair. And you're the kid who thinks he can make me walk," Elias replied. Toby grinned. "Not think. No. Just need the right parts. Elias surprised himself by saying, "Make me a list." Chapter 5, The Breakthrough. Weeks turned into months. The deal evolved. Elias no longer just gave Lena his leftovers, he started buying extra meals, then groceries, then boxes of tools and materials, by accident, that just happened to end up in Toby's hands. They tested prototypes, most of which failed spectacularly. One early version collapsed under Elias's weight, nearly sending him face first into the floor. He cursed, Toby apologized, and Lena laughed so hard she cried. But the boy learned fast. Each failure led to a better design. One evening, as winter's first snow fell outside, they strapped Elias into the latest version. The frame was lightweight but strong, powered by salvaged motors and controlled by sensors that read tiny muscle signals in his legs. Toby adjusted the last strap. "Try now." Elias tensed. The motors hummed. Slowly, painfully slowly, his legs moved. One step, then another. His breath caught. Lena clapped her hands over her mouth. "You're walking." He managed 5 steps before the motors overheated, but it was enough. Enough to break something inside him, not his body, but the hard shell he'd built around it. Chapter 6, The Change. After that night, everything shifted. Elias no longer saw Lena as just a desperate girl or Toby as just a scrappy inventor. They were a team, his team. He invested in proper equipment. Not charity, partnership. They moved the workshop to a clean, heated space. Engineers from Elias's network came to consult, intrigued by the project's potential. Toby thrived under mentorship, absorbing knowledge like a sponge. Lena managed schedules, budgets, and meetings with a sharpness that impressed even seasoned professionals. Elias found himself, lighter, laughing more, even caring again. One afternoon, Lena asked, "Why are you helping us now? At the start, you just thought we were ridiculous." He looked at her, then away. "Because once, I was Toby. Hungry, obsessed with building something no one believed in. Someone gave me a chance. I guess it's my turn." Chapter 7, The Walk. 6 months after their first meeting, the day came. The new exoskeleton wasn't cobbled together from scrap, it was sleek, precise, and stable. Before a small crowd of investors, doctors, and media, Elias rolled forward in his wheelchair. Cameras clicked. Toby stood beside him, Lena in front with a nervous smile. Elias gripped the armrests. Toby activated the suit. The motors hummed, stronger, smoother this time. Slowly, Elias rose to his feet. The crowd gasped. Step, step, step. He walked across the stage without falling. At the end, he turned, and bowed. The applause was thunderous, but the look he gave Lena and Toby wasn't about applause. It was gratitude. Chapter 8, More Than a Cure. The invention went on to change lives. Elias funded mass production, ensuring affordable access for those who needed it. Toby became known as a prodigy. Lena handled public relations with the poise of a professional. One evening, after a long day of meetings, Elias sat with Lena outside the workshop. "You know," he said, "you didn't just trade my leftovers for a cure. You traded them for a second life. Mine." She smiled faintly. "And you gave us one in return." The rain began to fall again, just like the night they met. But this time, no one was hiding in an alley. Epilogue. Years later, Elias would still joke about the absurdity of their first meeting, some kid asking for my leftovers like she could fix my legs with a sandwich. But behind the humor was the truth. Sometimes, the smallest, strangest trades are the ones that change everything. And Lena, she'd always remember the night the paralyzed millionaire laughed, and how that laugh turned into the first step of something far bigger than walking.